Hi everyone, Lee Pacchia here from Mimesis Law. I'm talking Bitcoin today with Professor Houman Shadab from New York Law School. Welcome, good to see you again.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So you guys had a pretty big conference here a couple weeks ago devoted to the topic of Bitcoin. How'd it go?
It was a fantastic conference. Yeah, in October we had a conference called Bitcoin Law, Regulation and Transactions, and it was a really good conference that brought together a lot of different people from different sectors of the Bitcoin or general economy, from attorneys, developers, investors, and general financial services people, and it was great. So one panel focused on law, regulation, court decisions that are bringing somewhat more certainty to the Bitcoin ecosystem, and the other panel was essentially on Bitcoin 2.0 or distributed applications using the underlying Bitcoin technology as something beyond a system for transferring payments or as something beyond a digital currency.
Yeah, I've seen the Bitcoin 2.0 moniker around as of late. What's entailed in that concept? Can you unpack that for us a little bit?
I think generally speaking, when we hear a 2.0 moniker, it can be somewhat faddish and just seem like another way to market an old product under a new guise. But I think the Bitcoin 2.0 moniker really has a lot of meaning here, because what it's doing is distinguishing between Bitcoin used as a digital currency or a payments platform or an alternative way to transfer value or money from one person to another as a much broader platform for enabling transactions and assets to be recorded on what's called essentially the Bitcoin blockchain or the distributed ledger network, which is essentially just a database that is unique to Bitcoin in the sense that it is, or unique to cryptocurrencies in the sense that it is distributed and decentralized on different computers, different people's, different users' nodes, and it's also public and very secure in the sense that transactions can't be really tampered with and they can't be hacked.
Okay, let's back up a second, and apologies. This is, I'm new to this, so I need some help with terminology. What's the difference between Bitcoin and the blockchain?
Yeah, the difference between Bitcoin and the blockchain is that Bitcoin refers to the use of Bitcoin as a digital currency or as a form of a money. The blockchain is underlying technology.
Okay. And another concept that we need unpacked here, smart contracts and smart property. What are they and where are they going?
Sure. So one of the main uses, I think, of the underlying Bitcoin technology or the use of the blockchain is to execute and develop smart contracts or smart property, which are smart in the sense that they are electronic. They don't have necessarily a physical representation in reality, but what they do is allow for contracts to be automated and for property in the real world to be represented on the blockchain or the distributed ledger.
And finally, distributed autonomous corporations. What are they?
Yeah, that's sort of another buzzword, and it's a distributed autonomous corporation or a DAC, sometimes also referred to as a distributed autonomous organization, maybe more generally, is essentially a company that exists on the blockchain that has no employees. On some level, this is the digital equivalent of a special purpose vehicle, which is a company that comes together for a relatively narrow purpose that's essentially pre-programmed or established ahead of time and just enters into contracts or engages in transactions on a maybe completely autonomous basis or a very deterministic basis without a lot of discretion or determination by human beings.
It's a really interesting concept. A lot's happening in this space. What are you seeing at the law school level? How many people are interested in taking courses devoted to this subject? Is there a field of practice that's developing here?
Yeah, certainly it's an emerging field for new lawyers, experienced attorneys to understand how digital currencies and digital assets operate, and how they can be used to enhance legal practice, and what are just the general legal counseling or litigation opportunities that are coming about. In terms of within law schools, it's hard for me to speak for lots of other law schools, but at New York Law School and for my students, there certainly is a lot of interest among students about this field, which combines technology, finance, and business in many ways. And certainly I teach a lot of it as much as possible in my classes, so certainly my students know the difference between, let's say, a blockchain and a sidechain.
Professor, thank you for stopping by and talking to us today.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
That's Professor Shadab from New York Law School. If you'd like to see more of the stuff that they're working on here, go check them out at nyls.edu. I'm Lee Pacchia. See you next time.